It's Saturday, February 8th here at the West End Gun Club. It's another day at the rimfire range. Came out today because I needed to pre-stage and prep for the NRL22 February course of fire that's taking place in 2 weeks, fourth Sunday of the month here at the West End Gun Club. So I just come out to plan on how I'm going to lay out the stages. So I grabbed a couple of the props out of the Conus container that we need for this month's match, specifically a ladder and a sawhorse. I didn't bring my sawhorse with me, so I just took one out of the Conus container, and I figured we'll just utilize the ones that are already here rather than me providing my own. I didn't drag the barrel over here. I may or may not do that, but I'm going to try to set up all 5 stages because this one, this course of fire for February, I was looking over it on paper and in my head, and it might actually present a few difficulties here as far as space, the way the West End Gun Club rimfire range is laid out. So I'm going to try to figure all that out and lay out all 5 stages just so I know that we can set it up in a certain manner, and I'll just record those in my notes, and then we'll have those for 2 weeks, for when we have the match in 2 weeks. And yeah, sun's starting to come out. I didn't bring my light because my lantern, or my Milwaukee light, drove my Tacoma today because my Jeep was actually in the shop at the service center for the better part of 2 weeks. I took it in because there's an axle shaft seal leak. I noticed it one day when I came home from work, and I was like, what the hell? Why is there like fluid on the inside of one of my tires? And so I looked and inspected, and it looked like the axle shaft was leaking. So took that in to get it fixed, and they spotted an oil leak that I suspected was happening. There was a very, 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 very slow oil leak that I thought I was suspected was there, but I couldn't trace it. And it was the front timing cover, so I took it in for the axle shaft leak. They fixed that, and I took it back for the weekend, and then I gave it back to them the next week, and then they repaired that front timing cover leak. And so that's fixed, but I didn't drive that today because I got it back last night, and I didn't want to take it out until I got to like visually inspect everything myself. So I hadn't had a chance to do that last night when I got it home, so I just took the Tacoma with me. So I'm missing a few things. Fortunately, I was able to get a mallet out of the Conus container and a few other things, but hopefully I should have everything I need to actually just shoot today, or at least prep for NRL22 today. And I did bring my Vudoo because I did make one change on that gun, and we'll test to make sure that's okay, and it's functionally good. So anyway, sun's starting to really creep out now. I'm gonna go ahead and just start setting up targets, which should take me a better part of 30 to 45 minutes. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. Should I stay with you? It's almost 8 o'clock. I spent the better part of an hour and 15 minutes setting up all the targets in the February course of fire for NRL22, along with all the props and maneuvering all the stages around. It's a long time before I even got started shooting today, but it's better to spend that time now as opposed to the morning of the match trying to set all that stuff up, because things may happen, so it's better to take care of it now in like pre-staging, so I know I'll take notes and know how to lay it all out the morning of, so it's a little bit more efficient. But anyway, I want to function test the rifle first, my Vudoo. So I have the bench here, and I'm going to just check a couple things. But 2 things I did. One is I changed out the magazine catch for the long action magazine catch. There's a long action and the adjustable mag catch. Those 2 I bought before I built this because the Vudoo sometimes has problems feeding depending on what chassis or bottom metal you use, because not all bottom metal and chassis and stocks are going to be perfect. So depending on how it all lines up, you may have problems trying to feed from the magazine. If the magazine were like, there's pressure exerted on it, it won't close properly, the bolt, or it'll just hang up. And I was having that problem sometimes whenever I had the gun on a bag right here and jammed up against a barricade or something. Sometimes the bolt would not close, it would just hang up on the feed lip. So I got the spacer, which I also bought when I built this gun. There's a little plastic spacer you put in this channel above the mag catch on the MPA chassis. They said that works for the Vudoos. It did, actually. The problem is it keeps coming out. It's a small little piece of plastic you kind of super glue in or epoxy in, but it keeps falling out after a lot of cycles and the vibration, the stock and whatever, and the magazine hitting it and rubbing against it. So it actually just comes out. So I just said, you know what, forget this. Let me put in the long action mag catch, and I function tested this one. It kind of brings the magazine a little bit higher when it seats in, so you shouldn't have it, or like keeps it more firm, I guess, so it doesn't like wobble around. And I function tested it in the gun, and it seems to feed fine, but I haven't live fired it yet, so I'm going to run through that today. And then the second thing I did was I retrofitted my bolt with the Gen 1.2 firing control system from Vudoo. You can't really see it from here, but the Vudoo originally came with Remington 700 shrouds. They were literally Remington 700 bolt shrouds. I think they OEM'd it from Remington. And so after a while, they figured out that those things were not as consistent as they want them to be, so they got rid of that with their own like sort of shroud system. They replaced the shrouds, so it's eliminated. And so on the Generation 2 bolt, which is on their Vudoo 22 Magnum, which is a full Gen 2 bolt, they have that same system, but this one attaches to the original Vudoo bolts a little bit differently than that one does, because you have to full thread it on. But this is called the Gen 1.2, so I replaced that, so it's a completely new firing pin system. And so I'm going to make sure that that fires okay. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now before I start running through all the stages. It is a cold bore. It's not clean though. I haven't cleaned it since the last time I shot it. So we'll have to run through at least one full mag to get it warmed up. Seems to be fine. A little bit up and down stringing, but that's me. It's always me when I'm up and down stringing. Windage is holding well. It's a little bit windy today, but it's coming back to front, so shouldn't affect it too much. Yeah, this thing's pretty much locked in. Oh, that one dropped. So, taking a look at the brass real quick, seems you got solid strikes on the rims. No big issues here. My windage needs to come left. I've noticed I think my no wind windage needs to come left about a mil, or sorry, 1/10 of a mil. But it's just so minute that I don't want to bother messing around with the turrets. Threw a couple shots. It's all good. I think we're good. We're going to go ahead and run through the stages now. I'm not going to waste Center X. I do have 2 mags of Center X. Do I have 2? I have 1 more mag left with Center X. I'm going to go ahead and just shoot some rifle match that I have left over. I had to order some more SK long range because I'm out, so I ordered 4 bricks of that stuff. And then I should probably order some more rifle match and just some more SK standard. Just to have as just generic ammo to shoot. But I'm going to take this bench out the way and we'll run through to the stages right now and get an idea of how it actually all lines up as far as the shooters are concerned, to make sure that every position is good as far as where the targets and the props, and if there's going to be any issues running the stages in the way I have it laid out. So let's take care of that. It's already 8 o'clock, so I already hear a bunch of noise. I think there's an IDPA, IPSEC? I don't know. It's an action pistol match going on today, so it's going to get pretty noisy on the range this Saturday. So the first stage I'm going to try out is roses are, it's some typo here, but roses are red, violets are impact. 2-minute part time as usual. We have 3 targets, 6-inch at 40, 1.5-inch at 75, 2.5-inch at 75. Those 75-yard targets on a double hanger. Basically, we start off standing port arms, mag in, action open. Shooter will engage the 40-yard target, 3 shots from the standing position, unsupported. So they will let you use a sling in that. They call it unsupported, but they let you use a sling. In my opinion, slings are support. But anyway, then the shooter will engage the 75-yard target, 2.5-inch, with 2 rounds from the top of the chair, then 2 rounds from the seat of the chair. Same target, 75, 1.5. There's no indicator that says you cannot move the chair, so you should be able to orient it however you need to make those shots. Then the shooter will move to the supported prone, which means you can use your bipod and engage the 1.5 inch at 75 with 3 rounds. So standing 40, 6 inch, 3 shots. Seat, top chair, 2.5, 2 rounds. Sorry, one more time. Standing, 40-yard target, 3 shots. Top of chair, 2.5 inch target. Seat of chair, 2.5 inch target. Prone, supported, 1.5 inch target, 3 rounds. 3, 2, 2, 3, total 10. So pretty straightforward. I will not use a sling for this because I don't believe in slings for standing that much. I'm not gonna bother to run the timer. I don't believe in slings for support, or sorry, for standing. In the NRA, high power service rifle, AR-15, we never shot with slings in standing because that's called support. So the NRA standing high power course of fire is called unsupported standing at 200 yards with iron sights, but now you can use scopes. But anyway, so I can see my targets. I'm going to go ahead and start. So standing port arms, mag open. I get the signal to start. Actually, let me double check to make sure I actually have my parallax set here. So first things, you should always get your gun set up. Even I'm guilty of this, where I'm not setting up my gun prior to the stage. So making sure that I have all the settings right and parallax. I'll double check this. All right. So standing port arms. Gonna go. Got the signal to start. Gonna close the bolt. There's one thing I would recommend for this stage is a glove, as opposed to a sling. We're going to go ahead, oh sorry, to the seat. So we're going to go ahead and I would probably move it like this. Set my Armageddon gear game changer. Going to go ahead and set to 75. I didn't bother to look at my dope, and I know for 75 I'm usually at 0.8, 0.718, so I'll go ahead and do that. And I was told to shoot the 2.5 inch. And it looks like based on the berm here, I'm gonna need some sort of, missed it. Missed it. Wow, 2 misses. It happens. But right now, from what I can tell, I'm gonna need to put that 75-yard target a little on some stilts because you can barely see it. Technically, it says you can. I don't see in the stage of fire, it says you can't use your bipod. Yeah, we can't see the target from here. Yeah, I was shooting it blind. Cannot see the target, the bottom target from the seat. So I'm gonna definitely have to put that in my notes. So we'll put stilts or some way to elevate that target so we can see it over the berm. And then from the prone, should have my bipod set up for this. We'll engage the 1.5 inch target. The taller setting here. Find it, there it is. We can see the 1.5 inch fine. Okay, so it's a good thing I ran through the stage today because, for one, let me take all these keys out. For one, we need to, I need to get that elevated. So for sure, I'm gonna write that down in my notes where we place it. That there's a berm before the target that's kind of covering the bottom, the 2.5 inch target on the bottom part of the double hanger. So we'll work on that. The next course of fire that I'm going to try out today is going to be the last one in the list, which is the Shooter's Quandary of Love. 4 targets in this stage. It's going to be a 5-inch at 40, a 1-inch KYL at 100, and then a 2-inch and a 3-inch on a double hanger at 100. So the interesting aspect of this is it's mixing a kneeling position with prone, and then the 100-yard targets have different values. So the 100-yard target, the 1-inch KYL is 10 points, the 2-inch hanger is 7 points, and the 3-inch hanger is 5, and then the 40 yards worth 10. So 10-point standard there. So you'll start off standing, port arms, mag in, action open, 2-minute part time. Shooter go into supported prone. Announce which target you're going to shoot at 100, and you'll shoot 3 times. Then shooter will establish an unsupported kneeling position, but they let you use a sling, so I don't know, I call that support, but unsupported kneeling. Engage the 5-inch at 40 with 4 shots. Then the shooter will go back to supported prone and engage the target of the choice with 3 shots. But it says you can change your target at any time. So if you want to shoot, you got 3 shots on 100. If you shoot once and you decide you want to change, you can tell the score that you're going to change. You just need to announce it verbally and acknowledge that the scorer or whomever, the spotter, can acknowledge which target you're going to shoot. So interesting. As far as the sling is concerned, I may not actually want to run my sling because I don't want to have to reattach the sling to the rifle when I'm switching to prone. I think it just adds too much complexity. So we'll just go ahead and run through the stage right now. And I'm curious as to which target I'm going to shoot, to be honest. I'm just going to dial 1.8 for 100. So I'm going to start standing, port arms, mag in, action open. Let's just assume we got the buzz to go. I'm going to drop into position. Gonna go ahead and locate the targets first. I should have probably dialed down. So I'm gonna look at the targets. And to be honest, I'm gonna shoot at the 2-inch. My idea is I would shoot at the 2-inch first, and I'm gonna tell the scorer that I'm gonna shoot the 2, so I can get an idea of where I'm hitting on this target and if I even want to gamble on the 1-inch. And I completely whiffed because I adjusted my elevation, my windage for some reason. Anyway, just chalked it up as whatever. So I'm 1 point, shoot, not even a 1.8. Shoot again. Okay, so that's dead center. So I'm going to tell the scorer I'm going to shoot the 1-inch KYL. So I yell it out, 1-inch KYL, and I missed. So that's 3 shots. I'm going to get back into position or kneeling position here. Then we're going to shoot the 40, which is about 1/10 of a mil. This adds some interesting complexity here. So I'm going to shoot the 40 with 3 shots. Well, 4 shots, sorry. This is actually pretty easy without the sling, to be honest. So we're gonna drop back in. So I don't think I'm gonna shoot the 1-inch KYL. There's too much wind factor that could come into play here that you don't wanna gamble and drop points. So I'm gonna tell the scorer that I'm gonna shoot the 2-inch, that's worth 7 for 3 rounds. So those are hits. So now you got to think to yourself, do you really want to gamble? The 2-inch at 100 is really easy. So out of 6, if you're going to shoot 6 shots at 100 at only 7 points, you're dropping 3 rounds per 3 points per shot. You're going to drop 18 points. If you risk it on the KYL, you either lose a full 10 as opposed to a full 3. You make it, you gain 3. So I don't know, it's a gamble. To be honest, 1-inch from a position like this with variable winds, it's an easy miss on the KYL, a 1-inch target at 100. So it's up to you. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's a tough gamble. I don't think in this course of fire, based on this stage, that many people, there's going to be many 500 cleans at all in this course of fire. So anyway, let's move on. I'm gonna go ahead and record a bunch of all the stages first, and then I'm gonna run through them again without recording it because I just want to get some practice on them, and then double check a few things. So the next stage in the course of fire is a little interesting. It's going to be a ladder stage with unsupported prone, unsupported where they let you use the sling. It's going to be called Rising Up to the Challenge. This is the third in the list. It's going to be just a 50-yard paper target. It's going to be the 2-inch NRL22, so that's 4 bullseyes. They're in vertical position, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, top to bottom. You're going to start mag in, port arms, action open. On start, you're going to engage the top target from the bottom rung, the second target from the top from the next rung up, then the third target from the top from the third rung. Then you're going to, that's 2 rounds each, so 2, 2, and 2. Then you're going to transition to unsupported prone with the sling only, and then the bottom, the fourth target, you're going to shoot with 4 rounds. So 2 plus 2 plus 2, that's 6, then 4 for a total of 10. Pretty straightforward. I would probably use the sling the whole time. You're allowed to, it doesn't say you can't use the sling. You're allowed to have a bag, so it just says in the unsupported prone you can only use the sling. So during the rung stages or whatever the ladder stages, you can probably keep your sling on. I'm going to go ahead and leave my sling on because I don't want to have to put it on when I get into position for prone. So anyway, we'll go ahead and just start. The question is, am I going to be able to use this bag? Because the problem with most of these ladder stages is, or these ladders, are these bags are very too tall, and so I might have to use a different bag. But it looks like my mini should work. And I'm actually going to have to take my sling off. Actually, it's too tight. So I'm gonna leave the sling off the gun. I'm gonna leave it on my arm, and then maneuver like this. So okay, but it looks like I should be able to run the mini game changer in this fashion. Okay, that should be fine. So let's go ahead and start. Ow. So I'm gonna get this thing to start. Make sure I'm on 0 for 50. Okay, got signal. We're gonna start. Gonna set up my bag. Gonna go ahead and get in. From this one, we're gonna shoot the top target. A lot of up and down bounce. Gonna go ahead and come in. Next, I'm gonna go ahead. Locate, locate, locate. I'm dialed in pretty tight. Yeah, maxed out 25. Third target up. So I'm pretty short, and the way this ladder that we're using at the range is, it actually works out better for me. So I can stay in a good kneeling position and still get good good stability. Crap. Get them out of pulse bounce. Then we're gonna come out. I don't need my bag, I'll leave it there. Then I'm gonna hurry up and get my sling on. Luckily for me, I have this Arca rail here, and I can quickly put it on. Then I'll get the prone and shoot 4 rounds into the bottom target.
Okay, that was it. And I shot pretty poorly on that prone position. Not good at all. But seems pretty straightforward to run through. Just need to make sure you prep your sling for this stage. I would recommend a glove. I don't think you can't use a glove. I would recommend wearing a glove. It just helps a little bit on when you want to jam up your hand against your sling swivel. No other recommendations here. I probably should dial down a little bit. I had it maxed out. For the prone position, I probably should have went to maybe 18. That's kind of it. Pretty easy to run through, or a pretty easy stage to shoot. The next stage I'm gonna try out is the fourth one on the list. It's called Let's Do the Cupid Shuffle. 2-minute part time, 2 targets. 2-inch at 80 yards and then a 4-inch at 100. I'm trying to remember where I put the targets. Where would I have put it? I have an 2-inch on an 80 on a double hanger. All right, I see it. I think I see it. No, that's not it. Where is it? Okay, I see it. Okay, it's right. Okay, I need to actually take notes on this one. I placed it perfectly. It's right in front of the 100-yard target, so they're right on top of each other. Okay, so rifle grounded on left side of sawhorse, standing behind the rifle mag in action open. Shooter will engage the 80-yard target, 2 shots in the prone position. Oh, okay, so this is left. So I'm gonna need to orient the sawhorse on the right side. Okay. Shooter will engage. Rifle grounded on left side of sawhorse, standing behind the rifle mag in hand. Mag in hand, action open. Okay. Shooter will engage 80-yard target with 2 shots from the prone supported position. And then shooter will then move to the top of the sawhorse, engage a 100-yard target with 2 shots. Shooter will then move back to the prone, 80-yard target with 2 shots. Shooter will then move back to the top of the sawhorse, engage the 100-yard target with 2 shots, then move back to prone. It's pretty simple. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So you're just changing positions every time. Actually, be interested. What is my dope for 80? My dope for 80 shouldn't be too much or too different from 75. Maybe what, 1.0. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, 0.95. So let's say 1, and I'm doing 1.8 for 100, so 0.1, 0.18, or 1.8. So I could probably just, I don't know if I want to dial or hold. We'll dial. I'll dial, whatever. Parallax, okay. So let's just run through it real quick. We'll see how straightforward this is. If you haven't noticed, I got a new shooting mat. This is a Creedmoor mat. I got a folding mat because I'm just tired of the fold-up mat or the roll-up mats. Folding is a lot easier to transport, so that's why I got it. All right, so let's just run through this real quick. So I'm going to start with mag in. So let's assume I got this thing to start. We're starting. Put the mag in. Locate my target, which I should probably dial down a little bit. Find that thing. It's always the key, starting off the stage, is locating the target. And it looks like we cannot see it from prone. So we're gonna go ahead and stop right now because I can't see the target. So, gonna need a stilt for this target. So both the 80 targets, I'm gonna need stilts because I think, or sorry, it's 75. So one of them I needed to elevate the Where is it? Okay, for the first stage on the far left, I'm gonna need to elevate the target stand. Then this one, I'm gonna need to elevate the target stand. So the 75 and 80-yard target both need some sort of elevation so you can actually clear the front berm. So let me go ahead and stop right now. I'm gonna go out there and do something to get the targets elevated. All right, we're back in business. Got the that's 80-yard target. That's elevated on some, basically I just used aluminum pipes to act as stilts for the target stand. All right, we're good. So we should be able to do this. Run this stage with the modification to the layout. I'll make those notes. All right, I got those. I got that 80-yard target elevated now, so you can actually clears the front berm, so you can actually see it from prone. So we're gonna go ahead and run this stage. Again, 2 prone, 2 top of sawhorse, 2 prone, 2 top of sawhorse, 2 prone. And then you're alternating to the, sorry, looking the wrong one. Doing 80-yard and a 100-yard target, 2-inch and a 4-inch. So start from, you're gonna start standing behind the rifle, mag in hand. So we're gonna go ahead and get signal start. We get down in position, go ahead and get behind the gun. And I got this microphone on my sweater. I'm gonna go ahead and run this. Mag in, close the bolt. I think I need 0.8 for 80, roughly 0.9. Sorry, 0.9 or 1.0. And I'm trying to get more elevation on the gun. Sorry. Sink the bag down. And I lost the target. Where is it? There it is. Okay, we're on. So we're shooting 2. So theoretically you should hold 1.8 and just adjust parallax. Question, will I? Should I try holding? So, where am I? Which target? Okay, we're gonna shoot this one. The middle 100. Let's try holding 1.8. So if I point in on the gun, I just need to hold 1 mil up. And we're gonna go ahead and drop back into position. Got this microphone in the way. Okay. Just parallax. Pretty straightforward stage of fire. Question is, do people panic when they're moving from station to station or position to position? So I'm going to go ahead and hold. Find the target again. That was 10, right? Yeah, that was 10. That was pretty easy. Not much there. Don't know what to say about that, other than I just have to make sure that I get that 80-yard target high enough off the ground. Clear the berm. All right, moving on. So the last stage we haven't tested yet is the second in the list. It's called shooting Cupid's arrows. We have multiple targets, so 3 sets. We got the KYL, the 1/4 inch, the 1/2 inch, and the 3/4 inch at 25 yards. We have a 1.5 inch at 50 yards and a 3 inch at 100 yards. So 3 banks of targets. It's going to be supported prone and barrel in position off the barrel or the drum. 1 bag allowed, 10 shots for record, 10 points per shot, 120-second par time as usual. Rifle grounded on left side of drum, starting behind the rifle mag in hand. And I got my mag in my pocket. So shooter will, upon start signal, will go to the supported prone on the left side of the 55-gallon barrel, which is where I have it set up, and engage the KYL targets from large to small with 1 shot each. Shooter will then move to the top of the barrel and engage the 50, 100, 50, 100 with 1 shot each. So I'm assuming you go alternating targets, 50, 100, 50, 100, so 4 shots. Then shooter will go back to the supported prone and engage the KYL again, large to small with 1 shot. I don't think it says hit to move on, so it's just hit or miss and continue. So just a tip for those who are going to shoot this at the West End Gun Club, since you don't need to shoot from prone at multiple ranges or distances and heights, I would just set your bipod down to a lower position than you normally would, like your net regular prone bipod position or bipod setting, because the KYL is on the ground. So I'm going to go ahead and just pre-stage to figure out what height I need on my bipod. Come on. This is the one thing I don't like about the Atlas, is sometimes it's hard to get that leg to retract or compress again. All right. All right, we're shooting 25. Cool. All right, we'll set up for that. We're good to go. So we're going to shoot KYL 3, 4, then 3. That's total 6 rounds. So my dope should be 0 and then 1.8 for 100. I guess I'll hold. I'll try holding. Well, how big's the 100-yard target? 3-inch? I don't know. I might have to dial. Might be safer to dial on the 3-inch. Anyway, let's go. So, yeah. Start in position. Start behind the gun, standing, rifle in hand, signal to start, drop down, mag in, and targets identified. We're going to shoot. Pretty easy. And we're going to get up, engage the 50-yard target from the barrel. And the question is, can I slide my, probably could. It's not cheating, because I can do it. So, let's see here. Find my target. 50-yard. So 1 shot there, and then we're going to have to engage the 100-yard. Adjust parallax. Do I really want to hold 1.8? So let's hold 1.8. Probably should cycle the action. So we're going to go ahead and locate. Just parallax a little more. Okay, we're going to just parallax again. Yeah, we'll just hold 1.8. Seems pretty easy enough. So that was that, how many rounds did I fire? See, you got to keep track. So that was, I think that was 4. So we're going to go back down. I'm going to go ahead and make my bipod adjustment here. Down position. Run. Parallax 25. Locate the KYL. Zoom in. Parallax, parallax, parallax. Preload. That one's a pretty easy stage to fire. Should have no problem with this one. If you're shooting base class, you might have you'll have a little bit more of a time trying to figure out how you're going to shoot that with a more stable position. But if you're open class, you got a chassis with a full-length Arca rail like this. It's going to be pretty easy because you can just slide your bipod back, use your rear bag for support, and then get on target. So, yeah. If I were going to, assuming I was shooting base class, and I had my bipod in the normal position, come on, why did it seize up? If I have my bipod in normal position, like on a base class gun where your stud is at, I would probably, how would I shoot this? Yeah, it's gonna get a little bit different to get support here. Maybe I would stack the bag, use that. I don't know. I would probably try doing it like this. This gives me enough stability like this. I can do it this way. Grab out the mag. Yeah, should be able to do this easier. Use the bag as a hand support kind of. Yeah, that should work. Anyway, for me, that was an easy course of fire. So this stage and the sawhorse stage are really straightforward. Ladder stage, paper targets. Just gotta watch your pulse bounce. What else does I think about that? Unsupported prone stage. I'm trying to remember with my yeah, the prone and kneeling stage, the KYL with the KYL at 100 where you can change your target destination, which one you want to shoot at for points. That one could be a little bit weird for some people. And the chair stage is pretty straightforward, but I need to actually practice that one to get more stability off that chair. Anyway, that's kind of it for the course of fire. I'm going to go ahead and just run the practice myself a few more times and before I pack up and go. Might as well put in a little bit of rounds downrange on these props, considering it took me an hour and 15 to set up everything. So should only take me 30 minutes to tear everything down, but let's do a little more shooting. Almost 11 o'clock, packed up all the gear, gonna just throw all the props in the Connex container and I'm gonna roll out. Took all my notes down as far as what I need to do and where I place the stages so I can just roll in on the 23rd. That's when our next match is, February 23rd. Just rolling on the morning of the 23rd. I can just start throwing everything at the stages and set up the targets immediately so I kind of just have everything ready to go. So it should speed up my process a little bit. And then, yeah, hopefully the match will go well as it did last time. I think last month went pretty well. And hopefully we continue that. As far as my opinion of the stages this month, 2 of the stages are pretty easy. Last month, I thought the entire course of fire was relatively simple. This one adds a lot more of movement. So there's a lot more of swapping from like the complete opposites, like prone to standing or kneeling and just switching out. So I think this is gonna throw a lot of people for a loop, and I think I was running it off camera. I didn't have the camera on really for some of my practice runs, but I was timing out on like the ladder stage. So the ladder stage is where you're shooting on paper, and I think for me, I have to just figure out my pulse bounce and trying not to frame the target for too long. I think it's better to take a I mean, this is probably the bad way to view it, but it's probably better for me to take a quicker, less stable shot than it is trying to get waiting for a long time to get very stable to get a 10. Because I think if you time out, like I timed out with like 2 shots left or 3 shots left. So if you time out with 3 shots left, that's 30 points. But if you were to take quicker shots and on that bullseye, which has a 10, 8, 6, and 4 ring, I think getting a 6-point shot is better than 0 points, right? So it's taking that balance of speed and accuracy on paper, which is an interesting concept, but I think that's one way to view it. So that's the one stage that I think will throw people for a loop. The chair stage, I timed out a couple times in my practice runs simply because that the chair was not very stable. The plastic was very flexible, so I think we'll solve that problem with a folding chair, a metal folding chair. So anyway, that's kind of it. No other tips that I can give for anybody who's watching this video and will be attending the next match. So hopefully this kind of helps you out a little bit in how it's going to work out for running the stages and how how shooting it looks like. So and there's no support side. I know a lot of people were having problems with the support side or the weak side shooting last month. There's no support side stages this month, so that should be a good news for people who are coming out to the match. Anyway, that's it for today, Saturday, February 8th, here at the West End Gun Club. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next vlog.